Topic transition. I don't have a picture for this, so unfortunately, this is sort of what we're stuck with. The Nintendo Direct. Well, I can't even say the Nintendo Direct. We got surprised with a Nintendo Direct the other day. It was the 26th, which we apparently there was a leak last week or the week before saying that a Nintendo Direct was going to be coming, and everybody thought that it wasn't. And sure enough, I woke up and it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I checked Twitter, and people were saying, "Hey, how about this game and how about that game?" And sure enough, there was a Nintendo Direct. So they a direct mini, a direct mini as they called it, which wasn't really mini. It was like a regular direct. I don't know what the word mini was for, but so they dropped this direct, which, by the way, I'm still taking credit for the fact that I called this like a month ago. I told everybody was saying they didn't know it was coming in for the rest of the year after Animal Crossing, and I kept saying the same exact thing. They're not going to put out a direct and tell you about all of this other stuff to buy and steal any of the thunder away from Animal Crossing. They were not going to steal Animal Crossing's thunder. But on a corporate level, that's what they're worried about. That's the sort of thing they're worried about. They're worried about people. They were worried about people, in my opinion, who were going to say, I was going to get Animal Crossing, but now I've got to save my money because Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is coming out. Or now I've got to save my money because of Bioshock Trilogy and all of these games. You know, they worry about that sort of thing. So I was saying before, Animal Crossing is going to come out, and then the next week or maybe the week after, we're going to get a direct that's going to tell us about the rest of the year. They're not going to do anything to steal Animal Crossing's thunder. And sure enough, it's exactly what they did. March 26th, they put out a mini direct telling us basically what to expect for the rest of the year. Nintendo, sorry, I keep saying this thing on the microphone. Nintendo put direct up out of nowhere so that people who are yelling at them would stop. I was with you. Why would they? Yeah, they're not going to risk potential sales. And we all know Animal Crossing was never in danger. Like, they were never going to put something out on a direct and people were going to say, well, I'm not going to buy Animal Crossing anymore. But they, on a corporate level, worry about that sort of thing. They need to consider. I'll be honest with you. If I was on the board or of decision maker, the Council of Learned Nintendo Elders, I would have done the same exact thing. They would have said, hey, let's put out a direct 2 days before Animal Crossing. And I would have said, no, let's wait a week. Are you kidding me? We don't want anybody talking about anything else but Animal Crossing. When Animal Crossing is done, when people have gotten the first week out of it, then we'll tell everybody stuff. I think it was called Mini to control expectations. As there were no big first party. That's probably a good idea, Mr. L. You're probably right. They call it Mini just so that you don't expect too much. Still need to buy Animal Crossing in the Smash 2 pass. What about Smash and Twin Tail? Question: do you think it's worth buying a Wii U for some exclusives? I don't know. I don't know. I would have to sit down and really think about that one. Ask me again during the viewer topics portion. Maybe I'll take a look at my games and see if there's anything worth having. Hey, what's the top? Gator, we're talking about the Nintendo Direct that popped up on Thursday. Certainly hope it wasn't all for the rest of the year. No, I think there's going to be more. This is because I think some of the dates only went up to June. I think there was one game for what I have a list of everything that was there. There was something on July 7th. Catherine Full Body was July. Hey, Mega Saxer. My entire Twitter timeline has been nothing but Animal Crossing and Xenoblade. Game Freak, I'm doing all right. It's foolish to assume a mini direct would premiere a new holiday. Yeah. Pigothy, you're absolutely right. Holiday 2020 is enough of its own topic that we'll get a direct in October or November for that. They were not going to put holiday news here. Nintendo only needs to do for the next 3 to 6 months because they do a direct every few months, and then by the time June rolls around, we're going to get an E3 direct. to which ARMS character do I want? I don't know. Ramen Girl. What? Crap. What the hell was her name? Min Min. Min Min, Ramen Girl. I'm probably the one who's not excited for Catherine Full Body because of what I read. Catherine Full Body, I have a copy of Catherine, and I played a little bit of it, the original, on 360. I liked it. I wanted to try Full Body, but I don't. What did you read about it that makes you not want to try it? Yeah, I thought that the puzzle game aspect was fine. I didn't play it deep enough. That's the only thing. So yeah. So why don't we go through? We'll go through the. I have every game listed here that was mentioned in the direct. So we're gonna go through them one at a time. That's our normal direct protocol. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition comes out May 29th. Looks good. It apparently is a graphic overhaul. I think they said some of the music was re-recorded, which is very nice. There was also a collector's edition, which has like a big art book that actually looks really cool. I don't know how much it's going to be, and I can't really be buying collector's edition, so it's not real. I mean, I don't have any. I've never played Xenoblade Chronicles. I've never played any one of them, so there's no nostalgia there for me. There's no, oh my god, I gotta get the big art book. Like it's a very convenient way for me to actually try the game out because I refuse to play it on the 3DS. Not out of like spite or anything. The 3DS is just I can't really play the small screen handheld anymore. The Switch has definitely ruined me. Atlas enhanced re-releases often seem to have divisive or unpopular plot additions. Sorry. Looks like it would be better port. I don't think it's a port. I think it's a remastered port. It looked like it had a graphics overhaul, not like a direct port. A limited run of Shadowgate remake up for pre-order, which I haven't seen. I want to see that game actually running because I like Shadowgate on the NES. Weirdly, I was put off more by the original Xenoblade ads. Never played Xeno either. The original ads made me want to play. I don't know what was up with the direct. Yeah, enhanced port. If you look at the Xenoblade game, it was like an enhanced port. Sorry, I got something like running around my mouth there. Catherine Full Body attempts to address its transphobic. Oh, that's right. But ultimately, its editions either ignore those problems or make it worse. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. It has a graphics overhaul and an after story. That's right. Hey, Trios. No problem, Trios. No need to apologize for being late. That's right. It did have. They did say there was some sort of extra story to it. So it looks good. You know, it looks like Xenoblade. It looks like if you enjoyed it before, you're going to enjoy it again. It looks like a great way for a lot of people who didn't get a chance to play it. You know, Xenoblade Chronicles was that stupid game that was like I thought it was a GameStop exclusive where they were the only ones that had it and they were trying to sell them for $90, which was outrageous. So I was like, oh, I'm just never gonna play that. And then they okay, so it was. And then it came out on the 3DS, but, you know, it was relatively later into the 3DS's life, and then you needed a new 3DS, so it was still not going to be super accessible for a lot of people. It's on the Wii U eShop, too. Yes, but so here's my point, Nitro. You had it as a GameStop exclusive when GameStop was trying to sell it for $90. You had it on the 3DS, on the new 3DS, later into the full 3DS's lifespan, and then you put it on the Wii U eShop, which the Wii U didn't sell that many systems to begin with. That is a recipe for a game that people may enjoy, but not enough people have had a very viable chance to play. The Switch is the first time that this game is really going to be massively accessible. You've got millions of people who own a Switch and didn't own a Wii U. Maybe owned a 3DS but didn't own the new 3DS, or owned the new 3DS and just didn't care to play Xenoblade because they didn't feel like getting it. and then didn't bother paying $90.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
Suave 18 Ice Wave is Wave. Thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciate that. Yeah, one of the big things about the Switch, one of the best situations with the Switch is that you're porting all of these games from the Wii U, from other systems, the indie games coming to the Switch. You have an audience the size of which is not only wild, but is growing. You know, for as many people that own that are out there that own the Switch, more people are buying it. Still, people are buying the Switch. So that audience is just going to keep growing. So whenever you introduce a game like this that comes from something like the Wii U, you have 2 to 3 times more people who bought the Wii U in total that this game is now visible to. And that's what you're going to get with Xenoblade Chronicles. I think you're going to get a lot more people playing it that have never had a chance to play it before, or had a chance to play it before, but just didn't feel like jumping through the hoops that they needed to in order to get it. Hold on, what was this about Atlas? Hold on. Okay. It was I was working there when that happened. I got a copy before that happened. I sold it later, and there were even stories about the GameStops opening the new copies, because new copies of Xenoblade Chronicles were still selling for $50. There were reports that there were GameStops that were opening them up and then putting them on the shelves as used games for $90, which is crazy. I remember I talked to somebody, and somebody said that they bought a used copy, and they knew 100% that was a brand new copy of the game. The way it when it cracks out of the spindle, you can tell that it was a new game that's never been taken out of that spindle. Hey, Lizard, still waiting for an Ape Escape collection. Would love to see an Ape Escape collection. Absolutely. I sold my Wii U copy after that Wii version was announced. Box had a bit of damage, but made back probably all the money I spent on it. Okay. And that's why I stopped shopping at GameStop. GameStop did the same thing when the Metroid Prime Trilogy. Yeah, Metroid Prime Trilogy, which is why I don't have a physical copy of that. I didn't get a physical copy of that, did I? Nope, no physical copy of Metroid Prime Trilogy, and that's why, because they were $80 in the metal case. They did this with Star Fox Zero, Ape Escape Collection remaster. I'll take a modified or enhanced port of Ape Escape. That honestly happened just after I left. Also, they reprinted their own copies and tried to sell them at. Good lord, man! I never understood that. Why would a used copy be more expensive than a sealed one? Crimson, I can tell you exactly what that is. When the game is out of print, the used copies will be the only ones that they get. They won't get updates for new prices. So they're not going to say, oh well, the used copy is $90 and now the new copy is $100. They don't do it because they're never getting new copies anymore. So that's a lot of the time why that stuff happens. I've been to a lot of stores where the new prices versus the used prices is usually pretty awkward, and especially stores like that. And that's usually the issue, is that they don't update the new price because they don't get them new anymore. But they continue to update the used price because that is the inventory that changes hands. I have a disc of Prime Trilogy, but no case. Yeah, I went and bought I have it. Danny, I have the Metro Prime Trilogy downloaded, but I don't have the actual physical copy of the game. And you know me, I love my physical copies. GameSpot, stop. Should have been thankful they survived this long, given how anti-consumer they. Yeah. Ape Escape gets remastered, but it's based off the PSP. Easy there. All right. So then we had a trio. We had a trio of collections, which was very, very fascinating to me. Bioshock Collection, which is going to be Bioshock 1, 2, and Bioshock Infinite. Borderlands Collection, which I don't know what is contained in the Borderlands collection. Obviously, it's going to be Borderlands 1 and 2. Whether or not it was also going to be part 3, or because I thought there was something in the middle there, Tales from the Borderlands or something. So I don't know what's actually contained in that. And XCOM, it's okay. So do we have any XCOM fans out there? Because I was a little confused about the pre-sequel. That's what I remember. Borderlands Legendary is 1 game of the year, 2, and the pre-sequel. Okay. XCOM, it's actually called the XCOM 2 collection. What would be contained in the XCOM 2 collection? Because it just sounds like 2. Was there DLC? Is that what it is? Yeah, I guess that's what. So it's going to be all the DLC. The only XCOM. See, it's funny because the only familiarity I have with the XCOM name is XCOM UFO Defense, which I believe was an RTS game for PC and PS1. I only remember it on PS1. I just assume it was on PC. But that's my only experience with it. So I don't know what XCOM is. XCOM 2 the sequel to XCOM UFO Defense? Or was there a different version of XCOM 1? Because XCOM 2 is not RTS, is it? It looked like a shooter. It looked like an FPS game. It's all the XCOM 2 with the DLC, yeah. XCOM Enemy Unknown. There was XCOM UFO Defense, which was the RTS game, and then XCOM Enemy Unknown was a remake of UFO Defense, but they're not RTS games. They're FPS games, right? That's what it looked like, or at least third-person action games. Honestly, moving to Bioshock Collection is an odd decision. The games are great, but a little old. Sean, I would say that they're getting that is dipping into the retro side. Nobody think that it's weird that Super Nintendo games are on the Switch, and it's because they're retro games. That's kind of how I feel about the Bioshock games. I think we're at a point where some of the Bioshock games they're dipping into retro territory. So I think it's fine. I again, one of my biggest gripes with stuff like that is if any one of these 3 collections come out and they're $60, I'm gonna be annoyed. All of these collections should probably be at the maximum $30. Bioshock 1, 2, and 3, $10 a game. $30 maximum for the collection. Borderlands, you're gonna get 1, 2, and the pre-sequel, $10 a game, $30 max. XCOM, I don't know how much the DLC was. $30 max, probably 20 if it's just one game with DLC. I don't think any collection should be more than $30. $40 would be if it's a modern collection. If you know what I mean? If you put a modern collection, modern as in within the last 5 years. But these games are not within the last 5 years. These games are well older than that. None of these collections should be worth more than $30. Maybe you could probably push 40 if you have it physical. If I go to a store and buy it physically, $40. Okay, I get it. But yeah, in person, digitally, no, it should not be more than $30. On Switch, I got it for PS4 for $20 on Black Friday. Oh, Bioshock Trilogy for $50. Yeah, see, that's crazy. XCOM 2 on Steam is at $6. See, that's way too much, man. That's way too much. I don't know how expensive or how old XCOM 2 is. That's the only thing. I'm not too familiar with XCOM. 2K can do all these collections, yet Rockstar can't port GTA 3 Trilogy. It's been on the phone for years. XCOM 2 was 2017. Okay, so if XCOM 2 is 2017, you could probably swing $40 for that. I would say $40 for that with the DLC, because that's still relatively a newer game. Switch tax continues to screw fans. 2016. All right, so that's not bad. So yeah, 5 years. That's not bad. All right. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 expansion. It's going to be the Fantastic Four versus Doom. I'm not familiar with the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games, but it looks fine. The Marvel Ultimate Alliance game looks kind of cool. It just sort of is. It exists. So it looks good. Yeah, it's sort of whatever. Shinsenkai Into the Depths was a deep sea diving game, which visually was very stunning. I thought visually it looked incredible. I personally am worried about the sort of watery effect on the screen. That always makes me a little queasy when I look at it too much. But you don't seem to be moving really fast in that game, so visually it shouldn't make me sick or whatever. It looked really cool. Like I said, graphically, like the art style and everything was great. The colors were beautiful. Just everything was done very well. I thought it was a new Blue Ocean game by the name alone. I mean, it was still great. It was still beautiful. I like the little bubble effects that come off of his suit or the character suit. So yeah, so that's good, and that's out now. By the way, the Bioshock Collection, Borderlands Collection, and XCOM Collections are all May 29th, same day as Xenoblade Chronicles. So holy smokes! Which I believe is also the same day as Last of Us 2. I saw something about the Last of Us 2 is coming out the same day. Marvel, Resident Sleeper. So we'll see what happens. It looks like it's gonna be May. May is gonna be kind of wild, or the end of May, beginning of June. Animal Crossing info, which was a little weird that they put Animal Crossing info in there, but they're talking about the fact that there was an update, and then that the update is going to include the Easter stuff. So starting beginning of April, we're going to start seeing Zipper T Bunny in town, and you're going to collect Easter eggs and stuff, which is nice. It's always fun to have the holiday events. It's probably going to be the first major holiday event. For me, I'm more interested in when the trees change for the cherry blossoms. That's always the game always looks really pretty for that. But that's Animal Crossing speak. I should have just done the whole segment there in Animal Crossing speak, and then have text at the bottom. So then we got a very interesting game called Good Job. This was I want to say a puzzle game. A puzzle game with you can't really say stick figures because they're not sticky. But you know what I mean. The real basic looking, like crossing the crossing street sign character, like that sort of shape. It's basically a puzzle game where you work in a building, and your job is to solve the building's problems. Basically, they're saying, "Oh, well, we need this thing here, we need that thing there, we need this cleaned up," and then your job is to do whatever the job requires you to do to take care of it. But you get to do it in all these crazy, bizarre ways. You're going to say Cornermer? A Nintendo published indie game along the lines of Stretcher. Yeah, a very sort of silly, a little bit of physics based. There is a bit of a physics base to it where you need to worry about, how this thing stretches. There's a hilarious sequence where you've got to get this device. I don't know what it is. You got to get it to another room. So they show you the one scene is the guy. He's sort of dragging it out on a little cart, but then he's got to like bump through all the obstacles. And then there's another thing where he stretches a power cord so it works like a slingshot. Then he pulls back on it and blasts it through the walls. And it's hilarious. It looks really, really funny. And then that's actually out now. Yeah, that's out now. I think it was like $20 or $25, which always sort of is off-putting to me, but it does make me laugh. And I'll be honest, if it's got some decent multiplayer, that's definitely worth it. Good Job looks like a Wave Tro cartoon. It looks like simple, good fun. I'll wait for the discount. You're absolutely right, Pickety. I'll wait for the discount. Catherine Full Body, July 7th, which, Catherine is Catherine. Ring Fit update. so Ring Fit got a big update because it was out yesterday. They added a rhythm mode, which is sort of a no-brainer to me. It's one of those things where why wasn't that there before? Actually, no, the rhythm mode kind of makes sense because it has music from a bunch of different series. It's got music from Splatoon 2 or Splatoon. I think that said that there was some Smash Brothers music in there. I think it even said some Xenoblade music or Zelda. It had Zelda Breath of the Wild music. So that's not too much of a surprise. The actual surprise was the jogging. There's like a jogging mode where you don't have to worry about fighting. That surprises me that wasn't in there before. That seems like that was like a gimme to just have that mode in there. They also added this is very interesting to me, and I think I know why they did this. They added a female voice option for the Ring's voice. That apparently the Ring is, I don't have Ring Fit, so the Ring is like a character, and then it has a voice. They added a female voice option to the Ring, and then they added different languages. And what I'm wondering is, did they only include the one voice and all in English because, or I don't know if in Japan, if it was also in Japanese, or if it was just in English and had Japanese text. I'm wondering if they weren't really confident in how the game was going to sell and how it was going to be received, so they didn't put all this work into it. But now that it's popular and a lot of people have it, they're probably like, oh, okay, we can record new voices, and why don't we record different languages so that the game is more accessible to other countries and other language speakers. Now that we know that it's a popular thing, so it just felt like a weird sort of thing to do late. But I think that there's a reason for it. How strong is it that the Mendez? I have heard stories that Ring is ridiculously strong because it's flexible, so it's not rigid. So like my understanding is you'd have to like crush it with a weight in order to actually break it. But it's doing the things that you're supposed to be doing with it. It should last you a long time. King's Bounty, was it King's Bounty or King's Bounty 2 was also announced. It's like a hexagonal strategy game. The only date they had for it was 2020. They didn't have a month or a day or anything. They talked about how influential King's Bounty was. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never heard of it. I don't think that I've ever heard of King's Bounty. It looked fine. It looks fine. I feel like Scott DeWaz. There was a video that Scott DeWaz did where he was like talking about how like it's a clip of him going, "It looks fine." That's how I feel. Like it's fine. My friend has it. I demoed it. Demoed it. Wow, that's why is that a weird? I don't think I've ever looked at that word. It's okay. It has a Nintendo quality I expect for the peripherals, plus what I expect of exercise equipment from a gym. Ring Fit Adventure is kind of amazing in how, in a very Nintendo way, it became a sensation, even though it's such a strange idea. And Dragoon, we talked about it when Ring Fit was first announced. I talked about it here. We did it on the show, and I said it before, and I'll say it again. Ring Fit would have never succeeded if anybody but Nintendo did it. If Sony or Microsoft or anybody else, any smaller company released it, people would have said, that looks ridiculous, and never touched it. Because it's Nintendo and because it's what we expect from Nintendo, we said, it's such a goofy Nintendo idea. I wonder if it's any good. And they bought it. And it works. And it works very well from what I understand. I do want to pick one up. They're still $80, man. And they're not easy to get. Apparently, they're getting harder to get. Nintendo or toy makers that hard. King's Bounty 2. It was King's Bounty 2. Niche PC kind of game? Yeah, I guess so. It's proof that we'll buy whatever Nintendo throws at us. And now that From Software is busy for a while, when a 3D Dot Game Heroes... Oh my god, 3D Dot... How about call it Game Freak? How about call it 4K Dot Game Heroes? Smash Ultimate released a new character. They talked about a new character. That is probably a discussion all of its own. They announced that the new character is going to be from ARMS, and that They did announce one very interesting thing, and that is that the announcement and the release of the character are going to be in June. I think it said June. Did it say June? Yeah, they're going to be in June. So up until June, let's not hear a bunch of people complaining about they haven't told us who the character is. They blatantly, explicitly said June is going to be the announcement and the release for the character. I really hope it's either Min Min or Twintel. Ooh, Twintel. The booty. There's that picture of I forget who it is. It's like the old president of Nintendo, and he's got his hands up like this. And then it's like a picture of Twintel's booty. I don't know, but Springman's a handsome fella. So's that green blob thing, but hey, to each his own. Kind of what the new character will be, like the Inkling, where characters are alt costumes. People are already, of course, they're already complaining, Rami. Of course. My head out a bit when I play with John and Mario Maker 2. Oh yeah, fun watching. No, thank you, Danny. Yeah, John's killing us over here. John started streaming the same time as the Silver Line is killing us. Yeah. Kimishima-san. Yeah, he's a picture of him holding his hands like the booty. Yellow Devil for Smash. But yeah, the discussion about that is probably more extensive than just this little segment here. So we'll blast past that. They did also announce that ARMS is doing a free trial version. It is the full version of the game, but it is a free trial of it from March 26th to April 6th. I played the demo a bunch when it first came out. I think they had like 2 different times when the demo was available. It's fine. It's just, as a fighting game, ARMS. Yeah, I love the idea of ARMS. As a fighting game, it's too inaccurate. Hardcore fighting game fans will never latch onto that game because it's too inaccurate of how the punches get thrown. It almost feels random at times. It's a shame because it looked very fascinating, but as a fighting game, it's just not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it in a hardcore, because that was one thing that when it came out, people were like, "Oh, this could be a hardcore fighting game." Like, no, it really can't. Bravely Default 2, they did the announcement for Bravely Default 2 and talked about what it's gonna look like, and they did it. It looks good. I haven't played Bravely Second. It looks much better than the other ones, obviously because it's on a home console system. It looks pretty amazing, and then there's a demo out for it now, which I haven't tried yet. There really isn't much to say of it other than that visually it looks amazing. The music sounded great. I mean, it's Square Enix. When you talk about Squeenix, yeah, that's what I called them. When you talk about Squeenix, you're just going to get a certain level of quality, usually. Bravely Default 2, don't you mean 3? Consider. Okay, so yeah, I had this problem, Rami, when they first announced the game, I had this problem too because I didn't play the other one. Apparently, Bravely Second is basically Bravely Default 1, 2. And then Bravely Default 2 is going to be new characters and everything. It's a whole new story. I never did finish Bravely Default. I need to at some point and get Bravely Second. I finished Bravely Default and I'll probably never play it again. Fantastic game. Middle of the game, ground to a halt. Very frustrating. Bravely Second, I heard was better, but had something similar to it, so I think that's why I stayed away from it. A certain level of quality. Looks at Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah, they look. Those are quality games to me. As far as I understand, I didn't play Kingdom Hearts 3, but Octopath was amazing, with the exception of the ending. So first we get Final Fantasy 13, 2, and 3, and now... Well, we had Final Fantasy 13... No, but Rami, before we had Final Fantasy 13, 2, and 3, we had 10, 2. So when we talk about that... I mean, we had 92 versions of Street Fighter 2. So... Still very much Final Fantasy in all but name. Bravely. Is playing Bravely Default and second worth it at this point? I liked it. I thought it was great. It's just the middle of the ground to a halt. I can't really explain why. But it's hard to say whether or not something is worth playing for somebody else. I can just tell you that it's a decent game. So it's up to you whether or not you have deemed it worthy. But I thought it was a decent game. I thought it was at least worth checking out. I mean, the demo's out. You know, just check out the demo. That's one of the reasons I like demos, is because they're there to try out. After Bravely Default, Tabletop Classics. This was kind of an annoying reveal, because Tabletop Classics is out, and it's 51 tabletop style games, which include games like Mahjong. I'm not going to read them all here. Games like Mahjong, games like Hanafuda card games, regular card games, solitaire, stuff like that. I am going to say that it included a game called Battle Tanks, which reminded me of the Tanks game from Mario, from the Wii Play disc for the Wii. So if you ask me, this is Battle Tanks plus 50 free games. Because Battle Tanks was awesome. I'm unironically excited for this. Was that game released already? Tabletop Classics is June 5th. Tabletop Classics was they said it's going to be June 5th. It is actually also saying it does have backgammon. It has backgammon. It has, I mean, you name it as far as like standard board games, and they're pretty much on there. They also have what was it? 4 Cross, I think it was called. It's Connect 4. It's Connect 4, only it's not called Connect 4. Battletoads? No, not Battletoads. Battle Tanks. Did I say Battletoads? Battle Tanks. It is also saying that it is going to include online play. If this includes online play, it's going to be amazing. Online play will be fantastic for this. We may have a new Community Day game in Tabletop Classics. I think it was actually called Tabletop Classics. I think it had pool on there. I think it had bowling. It had like toy boxing and like this other weird thing. They said some games. Yeah, some games. I'm excited for chess checkers and solitaire. We'll have online. I wouldn't mind playing some chess online. It's been a while since I've really played a game of chess. So it'd be nice to do that. Yeah, 51 games is surprisingly good. I actually do kind of want to get it, especially with the online. Yeah, I want to see what games are available for online play. But that it looks awesome. Again, if it comes out at $60, it's not going to happen. At $20 with online play, that's actually pretty decent. Love me some chess. Yeah, I'm not good at it, but I love it. Then we got our next Community Day game. I've always said the Community Day. I'm sure this was the Wii Play team who made this. Is it going to be $39? Oh, that's right. It's up for pre-sale. So it's $40. So we'll see what's available for online. Our next Community Day game is going to be Ninjala, which is a free-to-play. That's why we love it for Community Day. It's a very Splatoonish kind of game with a youthful, bright, kid aesthetic to it. It is a melee combat game where you fight with like foam swords and hammers and stuff like that. But you jump all over the place. Obviously, there's no ink mechanic. Teams of 4, so it's 4v4, which when we talked about Splatoon, and one of the things we talked about Splatoon was that you can't have a single player mode because you would have 8 different colors of ink all over the place. It would be kind of complicated to do. I think we figured out a way to do it, but it would remove the ink as a primary mechanic in the game. So it's very difficult to do. This game can be done 1v1 or 1v8, 1v7, 1v7. This game can be done that way. You can have a solo version of this game because all they're doing is jumping around and hitting each other with all of these weapons. So this is very possible, but the game has been announced as a 4v4. It looks very fun. It's May 27th. free to play. Like I said, it looks really fun. I suspect that this is going to be more fun than everybody thinks. I think a lot of people are looking at it and thinking, it looks like it's fine for the kids. I think a lot of people are going to latch onto this game and really, really enjoy it. The movement especially, because you're jumping, and it was like Ninja Bubblegum or something, where it's like a balloon mechanic in a sense. I'm kind of excited for Bioshock, not gonna lie. Lizard, if it's $30, yes. Anything more than that, I'm not excited. But yeah, so Ninjala looks kind of cool. We got the Star Wars Jedi Knight game, which apparently had some Jedi Academy mode in it or something. I don't know if that's new or not. And then they announced later that Episode 1 Racer is going to be showing up. I very much liked Episode 1 Racer, so I'm interested in playing that. Old Star Wars games, at this point, they're just sort of throwing them on there. To say, oh, what other old Star Wars? I would be amazed if out of nowhere on the Switch we get some of the older ones like Dark Forces. Star Wars Dark Forces. That's the one I'm thinking of. What was the game? There was a game that came out that was where there was Shadows of the Empire. There was also a game for. There were 3 Star Wars games for N64. There was the Rogue Squadron 1, Episode 1 Racer, and then there was Battle for Naboo. Oh, Shadows of the Empire. I'm sorry. Shadows of the Empire and Battle for Naboo. And I think a lot of people don't remember that Battle for Naboo came out. So there were 4 games. Rogue Squadron is amazing. Rogue Squadron 2 on the GameCube was phenomenal. That was a day one purchase. When I bought my system, day one, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 was my first. I have Rogue Squadron 3 and I never played it. I actually, no, I did play it a little bit, and I wasn't a fan of the the running parts, but Rogue Squadron 2 was remarkable. Toan of Salem? But no, there was a this is the third game? Yeah, Mr. Loco for N64, Rogue Squadron, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Shadows of the Empire, and Battle for Naboo. Yeah. Rogue Squadron 2. I would like to see, Dr. Gibbs, I would like to see Rogue Squadron 2 at least 1080p 60 frames per second. I would love to see that upscaled to a modern resolutions and see what that looks like. Oh my god. Or running on like the Dolphin emulator. Oh my god. Dark Forces on PS3. Dark Forces, I wouldn't mind seeing. There was a game for Star Wars, I think it was PC only, where you operated a walker. And I don't know if it was part of the game or if that was the whole game. But you operated a walker. I would be amazed if I saw something like that. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I know people were a big fan of that. I still have the N64 Episode 1 card. I think I do. I probably don't, though. Dark Forces on PS1 is a Doom clone. Hey, but it's Star Wars. You know what, though, Lizard? Star Wars Battlefront is just a Battlefront clone. But people love it because it's Star Wars. You put that Star Wars sheen over something. Where's that Star Wars fighting game? You're talking about Masters of the Terras Kasi. God, no. I know there are people who like that game. I am not one of them. I thought that was a bad game. All right, I'm home. Got to see how my stomach bug having daughter is at. No, tell her we want her to get better. Tell her to play some Star Wars Dark Forces and feel better. I have to do the PC version of Shadows of the Empire. If they do that one, I hear it's immensely better than the N64 version. You know they'll do the N64 version. They'll just keep that one up. Bounty Hunter is on PS4, so that may come. It may come too. So yeah, I mean we'll see. Panzer Dragoon 1, which is out now. It's $25. It is a remaster of the Saturn game. Like it or hate it, I know a lot of people didn't try it. I think that the $25 price tag is a bit up there, but because I remember the original Panzer Dragoon, if you knew what you were doing in that game, you could beat it in like a half an hour, 45 minutes. So it's $25 still seems kind of high. I know that it's a full remaster, and I know that the game kicks off what we hope it, because I think they did say that Panzer Dragoon 2 is coming. What I care about is Panzer Dragoon Saga, so I really want that one, and I wouldn't mind seeing Orda. If you bring Orda along too, because Orda was a pretty decent game. She's 2, so that won't happen yet. There was a Rogue Squadron collection that was actually made, but it got involved in a bad lawsuit and prevented it from being released on the Wii. Oh my god. Fix it and bring it to the systems, because Rogue Squadron was fantastic. PS4, I got the game for free already after I already had bought the physical game. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's all. Look. We're being generous in chat. I love it. So then there was a sizzle reel, which had a bunch of games in it. I don't remember all of the dates for these games, but the games were Trials of Mana, which is, there's a demo out for it now. A game called Fuser. There was Elder Scrolls Blades, Warhammer 40K, Vigor, with a V, please, for the love of God, that was a V. Burnout Paradise Remastered, which I know that there are people who are super excited about the Burnout series. Saints Row 4, Trails of Cold Steel 3, which the only Trails game I played, I didn't play any Trails games. I played the first Legend of Heroes, which apparently is the series that led up to those. There was like a Trails in the Sky, and I don't know. I just know the names. Mr. Driller was a sort of a guilty pleasure. I don't really say guilty pleasure, but I love that game. I guess it's not really guilty pleasure because I was unapologetically enjoying that game on the Dreamcast. But that was a fun game, Mr. Driller. And in Minecraft Dungeons, which I'm not a Minecraft guy, like the franchise itself doesn't excite me, but the game looked actually kind of cool. It didn't look first person, so that was enough for me. Is Elder Scrolls Blades not out yet? Not on Switch. I don't know if it's on anything else. I would imagine it's out already, just not on Switch. Burnout 3 is my favorite of the series. Yeah, see, I've talked to people who just love the Burnout series. It's hard to believe they rebuilt the game from scratch. Panzer Dragoon. Yeah, Arwing, which is my argument for now you have a game engine to remake Panzer Dragoon Saga, so get to work. Panzer Dragoon people. It's out on iOS and Android. I think I got a hair somewhere on my face that's itchy. So that was the sizzle reel, and then the last thing was Pokemon Swish. They talked about the expansion, which was the evolved Gigantamax forms, the Gigantamax forms of your starter evolutions, which they showed off those attacks. There was also, this is a pet peeve of mine. You get Sword and Shield, right? They're opposites of each other, right? Not opposites, but they coexist with each other, right? You Sword and a Shield. It makes sense. Just like it always has with Pokemon. You get Black and White. You had Red and Blue. Red and Blue are always the sort of opposites, I guess you would say. Sun and Moon. Like those make sense. So here's my pet peeve. In the game, you're going to be able to get access to Cub Fu, I think was his name, a little bear that does martial arts moves. It's hysterically adorable. There was also going to be, but it was red and green. There's going to be 2 towers in the games, not those 2 towers. One game is going to have the Tower of Darkness. What is the other game going to have? I'm gonna wait for chat. One game has the Tower of Darkness. What is the other game going to have? The Tower of Darkness. Not dressed, not Ness from Earthbound dressed in dark clothes. Light. Oh, they both have 2 towers. They both have 2 of the. Okay, so they both have 2 towers. Yeah. Okay. So, but I think you have to choose. You have to choose one or the other. But each game will have both of them. But you have to choose one or the other. The opposite of darkness. You have to choose the Tower of Darkness. or the Tower of Water. That's such a pet peeve. It triggers me so bad when I heard that, because I thought, what? Or shouldn't they be like opposites? Isn't it like the Tower of Darkness or the Tower of Light or the Tower of Fire and the Tower of Water? Why is it darkness and water? Yeah, it should be fire and water or darkness and light. Why is it darkness and water? I don't know. It was in Nintendo's Direct. If it's a mistranslation, that's a hell of a mistake. It might have something to do with martial arts traditions. Weakest end to a Direct since E3 2015, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's just a pet peeve. Other than that, they showed it. The Kung Fu looked adorable. They showed the Gigantamax forms of the other monsters, or monsters is an accurate term because they're pocket monsters. So it looks fine. It's just I'm not a Pokemon Swish person. So I like the idea of Pokemon. The execution has been relatively weak for me. So I don't down it. Everybody else enjoys it, and that's totally fine. It's just not something that I have latched onto very strongly lately. I love the pocket monsters, but the pocket monster games have not really been a success or a draw for me for a little while now. The Tower of Black 3.0, the only interest stipulation is that you prove you're not Anish Kapoor. You're over my head on that one. Probably has something to do with the Pokemon typing. But there's a fire type and a water type. And if for darkness, I would say if you were going to do an opposite type for darkness, I would say fairy is probably the closest allegory to a light. I think sword Pokemon fighting type. Oh, okay, so that's what it is. That the sword is a dark fighting while the shield is fighting water. Okay, so is that what it is? Lightness. Did they actually say anything new? I feel like the only thing they said was how Kung Fu evolves and what the G-Max attacks are. They announced the expansions before, but I don't think they went too far into those details. I think there were new details for the expansion, but ultimately, it's just what it is. What it is. Overall, not a wildly impressive Direct. I don't feel like there was anything in there that really, really blew us away. That being said, it was still a good Direct. It still got a lot of the information out. It gave us a nice preview into the next few months of things to expect. One of the biggest things I think to expect because of this Direct is that after July there's going to be more stuff. E3, we're definitely going to get a Direct for that. I know that E3 itself was canceled, but I'm still calling that time period E3. So during the E3 time frame, we're going to get another presentation that's probably going to be more in depth. It'll probably talk about some of the stuff coming out around the holiday season, just sort of teasing some of that stuff. I feel like during E3 we're going to get the Bayonetta, Metroid reveals. We've been conditioned to call it that. It's just easier just to say it because we know around that time frame. I remember we were talking about this before, and we came up with something where we were still going to call it E3, but it was basically going to be an entertainment experience or electronic. I think it was like electronics entertainment experience. We were still going to call it E3, but it was going to be an online thing every year instead of this giant event. So we could still call it E3. And I think it's why people. It was probably a good idea to call it a mini Direct. Yeah. You know what, Dragoon? You're absolutely right. Calling it a Direct, and I think somebody mentioned that before. Calling it mini dulled our expectations. And not only just previous, like before it, but also after it. Because now we're getting people, we're going to get people who say, well, that was boring. There was not a lot of big news in there. And the people are going to say it was a mini. It was not a full-blown direct. It was meant to be an info drop to get us through the next few months so that they can explain what's going on. I also liked at the very beginning, they put a notification that because this video was presented or probably made before a human malware, that a lot of the dates were subject to change. So a lot of the dates that we read off here that they presented in the video may actually change up. So we'll see what happens. It's a little weird. Geo. No, that's right. We called it Geo. We called it Geo. Gaming and Entertainment Online is what we called it. That's right. We did call it the Geo event. I thought that was a good idea. You know, until we have something else to call it, we're going to call it E3. But yeah, we had come up with Geo before. Anish Kapoor is an artist who brought exclusive rights to color, fade to black. Oh, yeah. That super dark pigment. So another artist, Stuart Semple, came around and made an even darker pigment and made it so that anyone who wanted to use it just had to prove they weren't him. Yeah, calling it a mini direct was a good idea. It really was. That was probably one of the best things they could do. But ultimately, you know, it got the information out. It did what it was supposed to do. It was not overly dramatic or exciting. This was just an info dump. There was nothing there that was supposed to be dramatic. You know, even hey, let's play. Even the Smash news, which is not, you know, the new character is going to be from ARMS, which I suspect that it's going to be a single character with swappable skins. Like, I think it's going to be Ribbon Girl and Springman, but then the move sets are going to be the same, like an Echo. You know what I mean? The move sets are going to be the same, but it's just going to be different skins. That's what I think it's going to be. Those two characters played similarly. I mean, they have stretchy arms. That's similar enough that you could probably give them the same move sets. And that was the thing, since ARMS, one of the big things with ARMS was that the swappable weapons and stuff. So you might be able to get away with one move set with multiple skins. Multiple character skins, so you may be able to get away with that. But other than that, there wasn't anything that was like, oh my god. But Min and Twintel are probably, well, Twintel really, not even really, because you can still swap their weapons out and put the same things on. They just look different. Min and Twintel is who I would want. They are. I feel like we're gonna. Okay. I would like Min or Twintel. I did like those characters, like not even just joking, like Twintel. Actually, like, I liked playing as those characters for the little bit of time that I played ARMS. It'll probably end up just being Springman and or Ribbon Girl. I kind of want it to be Springman, just because if you make it Springman is already in the game as an assist trophy. If you make it Springman, you have thrown out the rule that assist trophies can't turn into characters. Once you do that, once you have confirmed that being an assist trophy does not exclude you from being a full character in the game, you have all of the people now who want to see Shovel Knight, who want to see Waluigi, there's a bunch of Alucard from Castlevania. These are all assist trophies, and people have constantly said, well, a Bomberman, oh my god, Bomberman would be a fantastic character. And these are all people that have said the same thing. Well, they're already in the assist trophies, so they're probably not going to be characters. If Springman gets in, that goes out the window. That goes completely out the window, and now they can do whatever the hell they want. I would be kind of wildly excited for that. Yeah, it's going to open up the floodgates. Doom Guy, listen, you know me, that Doom Guy is who I would love to have. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Master Chief is who I really love to have. Doom Guy would be just fantastic, especially now with all of this Doom and Animal Crossing stuff going on. Sakurai won't do that because it would mean Waluigi not being an assist anymore, but he would get to be a full character. Why build it up as a surprise only to reveal it as the most boring pick? we don't listen to people who want Waluigi. But Springman is too. Also, Springman is too vanilla. I'm guessing that's too vanilla. Yeah, I think Springman's pretty vanilla. I think Springman would be the most basic choice, but you know, a lot of the time that's what people want is the most basic choice. Golden Sun Isaac, absolutely. Yeah, some of the other ARMS characters were spirits as well. Well, the spirits thing doesn't bother me to it. I don't think the spirits thing is proven one way or the other. I think the assist trophy thing is what everybody was worried about. Master Chief with a Doom Guy. Oh, damn right, man. Oh my god, I would love it. See, I would love it, but you know what? I do want Doom Guy to have his own move set. I do want him to have his own special where he gets all super violent. Master Chief wasn't as violent as Doom Guy, so we'll give it to him for that. Hold on a second here. Hold on, I'm doing something, which I shouldn't be doing because now you can see it all. Let me get rid of these. Hold on. Don't worry about it. I know the screen's black. Okay. There we go. Okay. The reason I did that was because yeah, look, I got my viewer topics thing ready to go. What did they put a Tails character in? I don't know too much about Tails, the Tails series, to know who would be in that. I'll fix it in post. No, I will I will upload it as is. Makes me wonder if there is vanilla toothpaste, since that's what his hair looks like. That's the Springman's hair is the cool blue gel toothpaste. So welcome to the viewer topics portion. This is the viewer topics portion / Q&A. So if you have any topics you want to discuss, feel free to post them in chat. If you have any questions you want to ask me, feel free to do that as well. Thoughts on the SU finale. I'm going to be honest, Shadow. I have not watched the rest of Steven Universe. I have not watched any of the newer episodes of Future since they first introduced Future. So I don't know what to say about it. I don't know what to say about it specifically as far as what's been happening in the show. I can say that as far as a finale goes, as far as the show ending, I'm not broken up about it. Steven Universe is fantastic, and I very much enjoy the show. I'm not too broken up about it because I'll be completely honest with you. I thought it was over before Future. I could have sworn they had said that that what the stuff that happened at the end of Future, before Future started. I thought that was going to be it. So I was sort of already, I'd already sort of come to terms with the idea that there wasn't going to be any more Steven Universe. And then when they showed Future, I thought Future was going to be it. So even then, even after that, I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. You know, maybe continue it in a comic or something. And then they put more episodes, and I'm like, okay, so there's more Future. Like, I don't understand what's going on. So, but I haven't watched any of the new. When they first introduced Future, I watched that stuff, and then I haven't watched anything after that. So I don't know what's going on. Apparently, like Jasper is their friend or something. I don't know. I saw them working together, and I don't know what's going on. I know that they were alluding to that, where Steven was trying to help her, but I personally am not a fan of that. I don't like that character. Jasper is a character that probably a lot of people want to see a redemption arc of, but I do not. I did not like the character. The character was a villain through and through, and even when they found out everything was not what they thought it was, she was still a villain. I didn't like her, so I don't like that character getting a redemption arc. But that's just a personal thing. It doesn't mean it's not the reason I'm not watching it. It's just sort of how I feel about it. Steven Universe over already. I think tonight is the end. Tonight is supposed to be the rest of it. I watched the Steven Universe Future, but I haven't had the drive as of late to catch up. Yeah, I haven't. It's on YouTube. Somebody said that it's on the Cartoon Network app, which is a terrible app to watch things on. But I just haven't watched it. I just haven't I've finished it. I believe someone was talking about the games that are Wii U exclusive. Still, yeah, whoever that is, if you want to ask a question about it, go right ahead. Games that are Wii U exclusives. I don't think there's many left, other than the only games that might be worth it are Pikmin 3 and Super Mario 3D World. 3D World, right? That's it. And other than that, I don't think that there's anything high profile that should come over. Xenoblade Chronicles X. I thought I could have sworn they had announced that. Xenoblade Chronicles X. So Crimson, I don't count the HD Zeldas because they did not originate on that system. So I don't count those games. If we got HD Zeldas, they would be HD upgrades of the GameCube and Wii games. They would not technically be. They would probably be ports of what we had on the Wii U, but those games don't count as Wii U original games to me. And that's what I think of when I think of that. I think of games that were originally on the Wii U, which is Pikmin 3, which is Wonderful 101, which we're already getting, and Super Mario 3D World. That's it. I would like HD Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. I would also like HD Skyward Sword. I know that sounds very weird because I do think that the game was pretty bland, but I thought the game was good enough to deserve an HD treatment and be brought over to the Switch. So what would call that HD? High def. I kind of want them to take another shot at Star Fox Zero. Star Fox Zero might not be bad. Star Fox Zero, I remember people saying that it had some issues. Maybe they could retool it, work out some of the kinks, put it on the system. Other than that, yeah, I don't think there's anything left. The Wii U at this point is effectively a nostalgia system. You buy it because it is a collectible, and that's it. HD Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. Yeah, I could see full blown not remakes, not remasters, full blown remakes. I think full blown remakes of those games would sell like hot cakes. Looks like GameStop is going to permanently close more than 300 stores this year, slowly walking to its grave. GameStop, because of the behavior during human malware, I'm sure everybody knows at this point. GameStop during last week, they decided to list themselves as an essential business so that they could stay open during the human malware situation. It did not go over very well with anybody. It didn't go over well at all with the employees on any level. The public was just berating them in every possible way they could, and very deservedly so. And then I think it was Sunday or Monday or somewhere around there that that was overturned and they were forced to close. In Pennsylvania, and as well as a few other states, they actually had their business license revoked because of their behavior during this situation. So I don't know what in those states, like I don't know what is involved in having their business license removed. I don't know what's going to be involved in reinstating their business license. All I know is the PA, and I think it was a few other states too. They revoked their business license because they refused to close. So I'm interested to see what is involved in them getting that back when all of this is over. So in some places, they might already be done. GameStop might not recover in some places. Someone mentioned that they're supposed to be closing 300 stores. I think that this is fast tracking their way into the ground, and they did that to themselves. They had a prime opportunity to be the bigger company and say, "Listen, we know that this is all Reggie's doing." Hey, hold on. Where am I? You leave our boss alone. It's Reggie time. They had an opportunity at the beginning of all of this to say that we understand that there are two major games coming out, Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. Unfortunately, we are going to have to abide by the law and close our stores. But if you would like to purchase our store or the games from our stores, we would offer you some sort of a discount, something like that. They had an opportunity here to close their stores, take high ground, and prove to everybody that they are a decent company. And they decided to do the exact opposite and show everybody how disastrously horrible they are. And all of those estimates that people had about GameStop, where, I think they've got like a year left. I think they've got 2 years left. Whatever your estimates are, I would say reduce them by at least 30%, because this is going to fast track their demise. GameStop just needs to die off. All they care about is greed. Or to be super conspiratory. I like that word. They did this to legally fire and close a bunch of stores without having to pay or be responsible. I don't know. Because Dragoon, the legal way to do it would have just been to lay everybody off. Would it just be to close these stores and say, we're just going to lay people off? I know somebody who, at her company, they downscaled their employee base by like half because of all of this, but they laid them off. They didn't tell them, we're going to have to leave you go for a little while and then you come back. Like, they just straight up laid people off. GameStop could have done that. GameStop could have taken the opportunity to say, listen, we're going to use this opportunity to close certain stores. We're going to lay these people off. That way they'll be immediately eligible. Because, if you're immediately eligible for unemployment if you are laid off from your job. So they could have gotten ahead of this thing, used it as an opportunity to close a few stores, laying off employees, which then gives the employees the opportunity to go ahead and apply for unemployment earlier than everybody else. Instead, they dragged it out and screwed everybody over. And I would not at all be surprised. And, morality and integrity aside, I would not at all be surprised if a lot of employees said, okay, now we're finally closing after they forced us to be open during all of this time. I'm leaving and I'm walking out with inventory. All morality and integrity aside, I suspect that there are a lot of stores that all of a sudden had a bunch of stuff walk out of the store. I hate to admit it, but GameStop is a necessary evil. GameStop is not a necessary evil. A large faced company is a necessary evil. Somebody could come in and into GameStop's shoes and fill in that void. That void needs to be filled. I just don't think it needs to be GameStop per se. I just don't think it needs to be that company. I think if you started a new company and managed to get the rights to call it Funcoland, I think people would go back in a heartbeat. Hold on. Yeah, you can have game stores and not be scummy. A friend of mine has something pre-ordered at Game to collect in store. They won't let her switch to delivery. Oh, that sucks. I don't think they actually did that because that would be super messed up. But laying people off requires unemployment and such, I thought. Yeah, I laying people, if you get laid off, you get to apply for unemployment immediately. That would have been a good thing for them. That would have been a positive thing for them to do, where they said, okay, we're going to lay people off, but we're doing it. They would have had to come out and say it specifically. We're going to lay people off because we were planning on closing some stores, but we're doing this now so that they can apply for unemployment, and we're going to pay them their final paycheck plus an extra paycheck. They could have done things to be good guys in all of this and help turn their image around, and they freaking blew it. Hey, I'd walk out with inventory too. It's like when an office building closes and everybody suddenly has a fax machine in their house. The only true necessary evil in this world is advertising. What the hell? I just get a whole bunch of messages all at once. Funcoland. Memories. Like Nintendo and their ROMs. The GameStop I went to for Animal Crossing took matters in their own hand. Didn't accept trade-ins and only allowed 3 people in the store with social distancing. Very, very nice. Fuckerland. I went to Walmart because my Walmart sells games for $10 cheaper. I called GameStop customer service. They told me that they would hold my pre-order until all this is over. Get the hell out of here. Hold my pre-order. Give me my money back. If Reggie is as good as his personal as a person, as we always joke he is, imagine him banging his head against the why? Why? Like, imagine Reggie sitting there like, I'm trying to fix this, and you're trying to make it worse. Was Funko Land an East Coast thing? I never heard. Really? I thought Funko Land was everywhere. It's just older. Funko Land was around a while ago. I have people in the UK I remember saying that they heard of Funko Land. Never heard of it at all. Yeah. Apparently GameStop is still forcing their Texas stores to stay open, assuming they even stay, because the employees probably just walk out. You see that thing? There was a Domino's somewhere where someone who contracted human malware apparently came to the store. So the store was essentially exposed to human malware at some point. So hey, Mr. Sonic, the company told them that they had to stay open. So they just left. The manager told people, don't come in. Sent a letter. Yeah, with the strike. I think he sent a letter to them and told them what was happening and that they were not going to work. They stood outside and they hung out outside and turned customers away. And they refused to do anything. I remember that report. Are you okay? Yeah, just coughing. My throat gets dry. Greg got human malware. There was a report from those people, the Domino's employees, that they were still doing online orders. So they looked inside and like you could see the tickets coming out for the online orders, but none of them were getting filled. Human malware. I can't take credit for human malware. Human malware is a term that came from Steve at Gamers Nexus, which is a YouTube channel, very, very popular tech YouTube channel. And YouTubers are getting demonetized for saying the C word in any way whatsoever. Not the 4-letter word, the other one. And so he started calling it human malware. And it just sort of stuck. I don't know, something about it. It rolled. I was calling it Pabst Flu Ribbon or Sickalobe. But human malware just rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Although I do like Sickalobe. Things like this is why unionizing is a good idea. You know what, Gator? Vosid 91. You can still call you to. Yeah, somber. That word's just fine. Yeah, I've seen a lot of things, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're actually going to wrap up. One of the things I keep seeing is about how they talk about not wanting to raise the minimum wage, but the kinds of people that would benefit from raising the minimum wage are the kind of people that we're calling essential right now. They are the supermarket employees. They are the janitors who are cleaning places. They are these workers who we have constantly said, people have constantly said in politics that, they don't need to be making $15 an hour. They don't need to be doing this. They don't need to be doing that. They don't need health care. They don't need any of that. These are the people that are making everything run right now. You get internet because of guys like Matt, because of the cable guy. What food you can get, you get because they're working the supermarkets. The supermarkets are still open. And everybody needs food, which means everybody is going to the supermarket. So you have, they're at risk. Obviously, doctors and nurses. You talk about nurses at places like nursing homes where they're incredibly at risk because their senior communities are some of the most at risk. Later, Mr. Loco, have a good one. These are people who deserve better treatment. And what I'm hoping from in all of this, whether garbage men, Garbage men is a big one. Garbage men actually get paid very well, but in all of this, I'm still amazed that my garbage is getting picked up. Imagine another month or two and your garbage. Imagine in the last 2 weeks your garbage hasn't gotten picked up. These are people that are still doing their jobs. These are people that deserve to be appreciated for what they do. One of the things that I hope comes out of all of this is that we treat everybody a lot better. That we realize that, yeah, Dragoon, absolutely. That we realize that these people are vital. We realize that they are essential to our daily lives. And this is something that I've said for a while. I remember a joke. I used to talk about what would happen if money disappeared. This was one thing I always said. What would happen if money disappeared? And like, what would you do? Money's no object anymore, right? You can go anywhere, you can buy anything, you can do anything because you don't have to worry about cash in order to do it. And what would you do? And a lot of people say, I would go to this store and I would buy this. I would get this stuff. You can't really say buy anymore because you would just get it. I'd go and get a fancy car. I get a bigger house. I go on a trip. I go to all of these places. I do all of these things. Money's no object anymore. And I would always look and I would say, okay, well, here's the problem. Later, Lizard. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping in. Of course. I always say the same thing. Okay, you're going to go and you're going to get the latest video games. How? Because when you go to the store and everybody had the same idea, they didn't go to open up the store. So when you go to the Best Buy to pick up all your video games that you want to get that don't cost any money anymore, no one's going to be there to open the store for you. That's all fine and good. We can joke about how we have backlogs of games and that doesn't matter. But what happens when you go to the supermarket to buy food, to pick up food, and nobody showed up at the supermarket to open the doors? What's going to happen when people start getting violent? Armed conflicts have to be put on hold. Can't they just stay that way? What's going to happen when people start getting violent and aggressive and pissed off and the police didn't show up to work? Because they don't need a paycheck anymore, so why would they put their lives on the line? You're getting into these bottle caps. That's Fallout. Me personally, I like bottle caps, the candy. I would rather use the bottle caps candy as currency. You can't expect. I don't expect someone getting paid $11 to sanitize and disinfect proper effect though. And Almighty, you're right. Why should somebody making minimum wage or close to it do their job more accurately? They're gonna do the bare minimum to get paid because that's what you're paying them or close to it. I mean, $11 is obviously more, but you're gonna get into a situation in that where you're gonna realize who matters. You're gonna realize who is actually important to our society. And the people that open up the supermarkets, the people that stock those shelves, the people that drive those trucks and deliver that food, they are vital. They are essential people to our survival as a society. And I think that's what's happening now, is that we're starting to realize that. People are starting to realize, wow, if somebody doesn't go to open up the supermarket, and somebody doesn't go into the back to get that food, and somebody doesn't go into the truck to get that food and put it in the back, you don't get anything. You go to the supermarket and the shelves are empty and they stay that way. The little guys hold all the power. We're just learning it. Absolutely. It is an important lesson. And that's when all of this is over. I hope that people don't forget that. But I also want to have more faith in people. Maybe that's the stuff. Dragoon, I have more faith in people. I have a lot of faith in people. But what I also have, unfortunately, is faith in people's desire for everything to go back to what they feel is familiar. And unfortunately, at this point, what they feel is familiar was not, we're learning, it was not the most stable system. So people will run, it's almost like being in an abusive relationship. In a sense, it's almost exactly like being in an abusive relationship. It's abusive. You know that it's wrong, You know that there's probably a healthier way to do it. But when you do it for so long, you're so used to it that anything else feels awkward, and you're trying to keep it. Yeah, you're trying to keep the status quo. That's a good way to put it. You're just trying to keep it that way. And most people will admit that the way of life needs to change, but nobody wants to do the work to change it, because everybody admits also that the work is drastic. So this is forcing everybody to look at life differently, and I hope that helps. I hope that stays. BJ, you actually asked this before, so I'm going to since I own a Switch port, is it still worth buying a? Oh well, we sort of answered this, BJ. It's worth it as a nostalgia system. It's worth it to say, hey, check out the Wii U. It used to play all of these cool games, but now most of them are on the Switch. Other than Pikmin 3 and Mario 3D World, there wasn't really anything.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
I love Tori Pereno. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. I mean, I say welcome, but you've been here for a while. Makes sense. Concept is comfort zone. Yeah, comfort zone. Only the comfort zone is, it's comfort zone, but sometimes the comfort zone's on fire, and we're just happy to be in it. When's your next stream? My next stream is normally it's Monday. Well, we're gonna wrap up in a second here. So I always address all of that stuff here. So we're gonna wrap up now, but I want to thank everybody for stopping in and for hanging out, for discussing all of this stuff. It has been a trial. These last few weeks have been a trial. We didn't do a show last week, just because there wasn't a whole lot that I really wanted to talk about. I didn't want to do too much talk about a human malware, but it's probably important that we do. And I think that while this is not going to be a human malware channel, we are definitely going to talk about it from time to time, because I think people need to talk about it from time. They need to vent their thoughts and their feelings and their frustrations, and they need a place to do that. So I wouldn't mind that being, as long as nobody takes it to a hostile point. I think that's a fine place to do that with. But if you are new here and you have not already done so, please go ahead and click follow. That would be very much appreciated. Also, if you have a Twitch Prime sub available to you, you can go ahead and sub for free. We don't really do anything fancy for subs, but we like it. We appreciate it. Also, check the links down below. Follow me over on Twitter, which is where I will post a bunch of fun stuff and also updates about streams that are coming up. And check the Discord link. We also have a Discord channel here with a bunch of really cool people. And check the YouTube link. I upload some of my gameplay streams over there. If you are watching this on YouTube right now, also check the links down below. Follow over on Twitter and check Discord, and follow over on Twitch, where we stream 4 days a week, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And then this show live every Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can stop on in and be a part of the conversation, which is very much appreciated, because if you have not seen the beginning of the show, I say this every week, and I say it all the time, and I will say it again and again and again. My co-host is you. You are all what make this show go on for 2 hours. Really. I've done videos where I've talked just myself, and I usually make it about 10-15 minutes before I get bored. So I like having everybody here to discuss all of this stuff with. It's definitely a lot more interesting. But thank you, everybody. Have an amazing night and an amazing weekend. You know what? I'm gonna change that. Hold on. For the time being, I'm going to change this. I'm not going to say have an amazing weekend, because for a lot of us, the weekend and the week are kind of the same, right? For anybody that's off work, it's sort of all blending together. So I'm going to say have an amazing life. Keep your good life going. Keep your vibes going. Keep your vibe up is what I should say. Make sure if you are freaking out, if you're upset, you're worried, you're scared, go on social media, talk to your friends there, talk to people there, and try and vent, because you are not alone in all of this. That is the very nature of social distancing makes us feel like we're alone, and the reality is we are alone together. So don't forget that. Don't forget that your computer, your phone, your social media is a way for you to connect with people in a much more personal way than you probably think. But have a great night, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all next time.